Spain plays host to the 5th round of the 2013 FIA GT Series. We're here at the Navarra circuit, just south of Pamplona, for the penultimate round of the championship. But before we get underway, let's look back at the last round. At the Slovakia ring, Stefan Ortelli from second on the grid jumped the start, which later gave him a drive-through penalty, but there was chaos at the start of the race. Alan Day, race winner in Zandvoort, was pushed out into the gravel trap. Also in trouble was Sebastian Loeb. He got squeezed going into the first corner, ended up in a sandwich, which brought race-ending damage to his McLaren. Alan Day, a little winded, but nothing too severe. The safety car came out in order to clear up the wreckage, and when it came in, it was nearly time for the pit stop windows. Andy Zuber coming in to hand over to Mike Parisi, which got them out in a net second place. That place was soon taken, though, by Sergio Jimenez, forcing his way past up into second place. The race leader, though, was Andreas Simonsen. He got out of the pits, happy with his work, to hand over to Sergei Afanasiev. The battle was now all about second place. First of all, the two Audis sliced past Mike Parisi. The car's now in the hands of René Rast and Frank Stippler. They moved up into third and fourth places. The BMW, their next target. Coming into turns 7 and 8, they managed to glide past the Team Brazil car and move up into second and third places respectively. It was the best showing from the BMW Team Brazil squad all season, and they managed to go on to score a solid 5th place. The battle for the final spot on the Pro-Am podium was hotting up. Alex Buncombe attacking Fabio Anidi coming down into the hairpin of turn 4. He managed to go right around the outside of the Ferrari. Laurens Vanthoor then started to come into the action, trying to get past his teammate. He soon passed Frank Stippler, wasn't close enough to get past René Rast, and as a result, it was Andreas Simonsen and Sergei Afanasiev who took the overall victory and the win in Pro-Am, with WRT in second, third and fourth. A fantastic performance, with Niki Mermanov and René Rast winning the Pro Cup, but the overall race win and Pro-Am going the way of Andreas Simonsen and Sergei Afanasiev. Everyone was nice and relaxed at the driver's photograph, but there's some serious business to go on this weekend as the championship battles continue. Andreas Simonsen and Sergei Afanasiev are currently leading the Pro-Am standings. They performed very strongly, winning the race overall last time out in Slovakia, and Simonsen is confident that form can continue.
For sure, the Grossa and the project car will be the main competition this week. There's only 8 points behind us. And I think this track suits the Lamborghini a bit more than the Mercedes. It's quite a heavy car, so we struggle on these small corners on second and first gear. The team made a good job to find a good setup. Overall, I think we can do a good weekend.
Only a handful of points behind them is the Gottfried Racing Grasser Lamborghini of Harry Procek. Procek is joined by Gerhard Twareza this weekend, but despite that, he knows it's going to be tough to fight off the Mercedes.
We try to win it, yes, for sure, but I think our, especially HTP, is very, very strong. See on that weekend with Nova driver, with Amon Müller, they have strong new drivers, so we try our best. We will fight for the title, for sure.
Wolfgang Reip is also still in contention for the Pro-Am title. He'll be in the 32 RJN Nissan this weekend alongside Steve Doherty, and the Belgian is well aware of what he needs to do to stay in the championship hunt.
Well, this weekend it's simple. We need to finish at the best position we can. This time in FIA GT, on this track, on Navarra track, we feel quite good. The Mercedes are too much ahead and they are still very strong, so it will be very difficult to beat them. But the most important thing is to take pleasure and to be as fast as you can.
In the Pro Cup, it's only Alan Day who can stop the rise of the WRT Audis. He's in an HTP Mercedes this weekend alongside Stef Dusseldorp. But Day knows it's going to be a long shot if he's to overpower the Audis.
It's going to be really difficult, and to be honest, the Audi had a really quick pace through all the season and almost zero mistakes, so it's going to be a really tough job. I will again do my best. I hope for more winning, not only Zandvoort, and more podiums and good result here.
Sebastian Loeb and Alvaro Parente have had such bad luck this season, they haven't been able to capitalise on the pace their McLaren has shown. But this Navarra circuit has been known in the past to suit the MP412C.
Navarra normally is quite a good track for the McLaren. But, I know they opened the restrictor from the Audi, which was even the fastest before, so I think it's no chance.
Vita for One are making their series debut this weekend with Karun Chanduk partnering Hjalmar Berman. Karun, having split from his Seyfarth Mercedes squad, is looking for better luck here with the BMW.
I wasn't particularly getting along with the Seyfarth guys. It wasn't just working for us. The results weren't what we wanted it to be. An opportunity came to join Michael and Vitaphone and get together with Hjalmar, of course, who's got a lot of experience in the BMW. They're a great team, great bunch of guys, and already I'm getting along better with them than I had with the previous team. So, yeah, really looking forward to the next 2 rounds.
At the top of the Pro Cup, it's the number 11 WRT Audi of Laurens Vanthoor and Stefan Ortelli. But hot on their heels is the 13 machine with Edvard Sandström and Frank Stippler. And Sandström knows it'll be tough to overhaul their teammates.
It's always the plan, but of course they are fast, and especially here, Ortelli he had done a lot of races here, and he knows the circuit, and he seems to have a very good ground speed. I think we each session find out a little bit here and there, and we're getting closer and closer, and we can still win the championship for sure. It's just to do good qualifying and race hard, and then we will see where we end up.
With 3 identical R8s gunning for the title, it's the drivers who will be feeling the pressure.
What a piece of work is a man.
What a piece of work is a man.
How noble in reason.
How noble in reason.
How infinite in faculty.
How infinite in faculty.
In form and moving, how express and admirable.
In form and moving, how express and admirable.
In action, how like an angel.
In action, how like an angel.
In apprehension, how like a god.
In apprehension, how like a god.
The beauty of the world.
The beauty of the world.
It's time for the qualifying race for the 5th round of the 2013 FIA GT Series. We're here in Spain on the penultimate leg of our tour around the world, and it's going to be a very entertaining race because we've just had some rain start to fall here at the Navarra circuit. You can see the clouds, they look pretty dark. The air temperature's about 17 degrees, track temperature 16 degrees, but John, the brollies are up.
Yes, we thought we'd seen the race. The end of the rain. We had a lot of rain here for qualifying, and overnight the track dried out. It was dry this morning for warm-up, but in the 20 or so minutes since that session ended, we've had clouds come over the racetrack, and it's more a drizzly rain than the kind of rain that we saw yesterday afternoon prior to qualifying.
Here's a look at the grid then. On pole position, it'll be Marc Basseng starting alongside Edvard Sandström on the front row. Oliver Jarvis making his FIA GT Series debut will be starting in 3rd place. Michael Ammermuller, great qualifying performance from him. He'll be in 5th place. 6th place BMW won't be there. Vanthoor, championship leaders, only managed 7th position. Dusseldorp and Ordóñez starting in 9th and 10th position, but that Nissan will have to take a drive-through penalty for an engine change. Hjalmar Berman in 11th. Watch for him climbing up the order. Same can be true of Duncan Taffy in 13th position. Harry Procik, 2nd in Pro-Am Championship, will start in 15th place on the grid. Wolfgang Reip ahead of Mike Parisi, who had a terrible qualifying session. He's looking forward to flying through at the start of the race with Philippe Sledecka and Martin Matska, another newcomer to the series, at the back of the grid. But through the final corner they come on the green flag lap. We're about to get racing in the 5th round of the championship. It's the qualifying race about to start here at Navarra. Marc Basseng on pole in the Lamborghini, Sandström 2nd in the Audi as the lights go green. It's a good start from Alvaro Parent, pulling towards the outside on the run down to the first corner. Parent's going to take the lead here. Fantastic start from the Portuguese driver. Basseng gets shuffled back. A phenomenal start from Lucas Ordóñez. He's up into 3rd position, but he's got onto the slick AstroTurf on the outside and can't get it slowed down. Look how cramped it is going into turn 3. Ordóñez off the road again, but somehow he has gone from 10th to 3rd by the time they get to the first corner. Everyone else busying their way through the left-hand kink as the second McLaren runs wide.
Yeah, Mac Brady away. He got trapped with traffic around him and nowhere to get back onto the racetrack. But what a start from that Nissan in third place. An absolute screamer up the outside and around the outside of turn one and slotted that Nissan into position. And, well, you can't do better than that.
There's been a huge shuffle around. Stefano Ortelli looking on, looking quite concerned. Where is his Audi? Oh, there's 4, 5, 6 abreast coming down the back straight there. Michele Rugolo is up into 4th place. It's 5th place for Steph Duffeldorp. 6th position, possibly now 5th, as Laurens Vanthoor tries to go past Steph Dusseldorp and does get up into 5th place. Then we've got Harry Procek and a huge gaggle of cars further back. What on earth? Look at this, Matthias Stump making a move on Jelmer Berman now. Stump in the white Lamborghini going past the BMW. What happened to our pole sitter Marc Basseng? He's dropped down the order so rapidly, I can't even see him coming through there. Oh, and there's a spin.
That's the McLaren. Ryan McLaren, Duncan Tappy has been tapped and spun around, and he's going to have to wait for the whole field to get through. He may well have had the engine that was coming through turn 13. Turn 12. So we now the field beginning to string out, but certainly where did Marc Basseng get to? He was sort of swamped by the entire field on the run up to turn 1. He
and Oliver Jarvis must have had a moment, because those two are now running right at the back of the pack. Across the line they come at the end of lap 1. Alvaro Parent leads by 1.3 seconds. Sandstrom is 2nd. Lucas Ordóñez is 3rd. 4th is Michele Rugolo. 5th is Laurens Vanthoor. 6th, Steph Dusseldorp. And yes, Jarvis coming across the line 19th. Basseng coming across the line in 18th place. So our 1st and 3rd place starters now running in 18th and 19th places respectively.
It certainly looked very congested when the cars were coming out of turn 8. That's the corner that leads on to what we call the back straight. Whether that was the area where the contact or whatever took place occurred. But we never get a little opportunity to see back on that opening lap, certainly into turn 1. Everybody except Lucas Ordóñez appeared to be fairly cautious. He just charged up the outside.
Oh no, Steph Dusseldorp has been spun round by Matthias Stump coming into the right-hander of turn 8 that leads out onto the back straight, and that HDP Mercedes is parked there. He gets going again, but that's a real shame for their championship challenge. Okay, so we're hearing that the 24 Lamborghini of Basseng and Oliver Jarvis are both on dry weather tyres. So that explains it. Basseng, we think, was on dry weather tyres, apparently, according to our sources. There's the start of the race. Look on the right-hand side, we've got Lucas Ordóñez in that big white Nissan getting a rocketing start. Everyone else struggling as they come into the first corner. Well, Parent's got the job done.
The reason why the cars on the left-hand side of the grid got the advantage is if that was the case that we saw the Lamborghini at Basseng starting on those slick tyres, then everybody on the right-hand side was going to be backed up, because Basseng could not take the risk of trying to get through turn 1 and then into turn 2 and 3, simply because there was no grip. And it was the people on the left-hand side, and we see Alvaro Parent doing a brilliant job of just going down the left-hand side, staying wide in turn 1. And look at that. Well, there's a bit of a smile. We don't often get a smile from Sebastian Loeb, but there we see it. But everybody now who is on that wet tyre looking for the damp or the wettest part of the racetrack, they want to try, if possible, to string out their race until that pit lane opens in what will be another 15 or so minutes, rather than having to come in and go on to slicks and then having to come back in again and do the driver change.
Now, the handy thing having Basseng and Jarvis out there on the circuit is that
and Rugolo gets onto the...
Oh, yeah.
He just ran the curbing on the outside of turn 2, and consequently an easy overtake for Laurens Vanthoor. That's just what you want, a driver to make that pass available to you.
As the battle for the prime lead continues and Procek gets out of shape, and that means it's an open gap up the inside, and Matthias Stump moves through. Procek just got out of shape through the middle part of turn 5, and Matthias Stump in the ACL by Road Drive Lamborghini is now up into the lead of Pro-Am and into 6th place overall. 5 minutes to go before the pit stop window. Vincent Voss watching on, Frank Stippler behind.
And I'll tell you, the gamble of starting on slicks has not paid off, because Marc Basseng has finally got into a 1:57. That's still 7.5 seconds behind the pace of the lead car, Alvaro Parent. The judgment, bearing in mind ambient temperature, track temperature, the nature of the circuit, bad decision.
We've just seen Oliver Jarvis continuing to be lapped, this time by Berman, Rugolo and Stump. And it is Michele Rugolo and Matej Stump doing battle here over 5th place. Stump looks up the inside in the Lamborghini and slides through.
And just watching Stump, he's done 2 good passes. Once there we saw on Rugolo, and it was coming into turn 13. He's got through, and Rugolo thinks he might have a chance to come back. He's trying to down the outside, get the better exit off turn 15. But Stump did a good job. He did it in Harry Project. He forced the error there. As we go back to this battle now for 2nd place, and team boss Vincent Vos, well, the mind, I'm sure, is wondering what's going to go on.
And it's Van Thor who is leading the championship, and he's going to try and go around the outside at turn 1. Laurence Van Thor, can he get past into 2nd place? He can. What a phenomenal move, but Sandstrom still has the inside line coming into 3 and holds the place. But what a daring attempt from Van Thor.
And what good, look at Vincent Vos pulling his hair out. Oh, sorry, Vincent, you don't have any to pull out. Maybe that's the reason. Look, Van Thor back behind Edvard Sandstrom, battling into turn 5. And I mean, these 2 drivers are going at it. Again, I mean, there's no paint being swapped at the minute, but this is a real drag it out knuckle fight between the 2 Audi drivers. Oh, damage.
And off has gone Aman Ibrahim in the BMW, and he's on the circuit. Will this bring out the safety car? Potentially. We'll have to wait and see. He's lost that. Where is that? That's into the first corner.
Straight in, whether he was in
turn 1.
He may have been involved in a battle, but he's not. He's topped and tailed the car. He's damaged the nose and the tail of it. So we'll hopefully maybe get a little glimpse of that as we see this battle that's waging between Van Thor and Sandstrom. There is the BMW driver out of the car. He's going to be disappointed.
So it sounds as though most teams are making slicks ready in the pit lane. Here's the look from Van Thor. Almost a touch between them, but I think they got away with it. Still no contact between these 2. This is only the battle for 2nd place, by the way. Alvaro Parentes still out in the lead of this one. Here comes Van Thor up the inside into the final corner. Sandstrom sees it coming, swings wide, bounces over the curbs to try and get the grip back, and they're going to be absolutely wheel to wheel. These are our 1st and 2nd place men in the championship. Across the line they come. Van Thor has half a car length's advantage. There's yellow flags, so there's nothing Sandstrom can do.
Exactly, and this is up into turn 1. The BMW somewhere on the outside of the inside. We couldn't quite get a view of that. But Laurence Van Thor has worked very, very hard indeed, and he's got it all done into turn 15.
Into the pits they come. This is going to be an absolute pit stop race between the 2 factions at WRT.
So Eds Van Thor stops, and Ortelli opens the door. Now Sundstrom stops, and Frank Stippler does the same thing. So a battle between there. We see Ortelli getting into the car. We see Sundstrom helping Frank Stippler into the car. New sticker slicks going on. Best lap, last lap from, just trying to have a look and see what we've got.
Here comes
from Bassang.
And look, the 13 car's got back out in front. So it's Frank Stippler who's got back out in front of Stefan Ortelli. So the positions swap around.
And we got Sebastian Loeb, just saw him literally going out of shot as the 2 Audis leave the pit lane. So the gap between 1st and 2nd has reduced during those pit stops. But we've seen a change of position in the pit lane between these 2 Audis. Now Frank Stippler and Stefan Ortelli runs way wide. And he needs to be careful. Those slick tyres on a wet track, especially sticker tyres, are going to be tricky until you get the film as a part of the releasing agent from the tyre. When it comes out of the tyre mould, gets rubbed off.
As we figured, everyone coming into the pits then at the last possible opportunity pretty much. And once they all come back through, we'll try and figure out exactly what has happened in there as far as the order is concerned and the Pro-Am standings as well. But there is our race leader, Sebastian Loeb.
Now, if he's on slick tyres, there is no better man in the field to drive a car in these. Now, why are the 2 Audis dropped back like that? There's a massive difference.
Well, no, but why was Frank Stippler pulling to the right-hand side?
Well, why is Ortelli? What's wrong with the BMW?
Karun Chanduk. Karun Chanduk's gone off, I think, on the run down towards turn 8. And that's a bit of a moment for Chanduk as he recovers, only loses 2 positions, I should say.
Again, that's the danger of these drivers have not driven, the ones that have taken over, who've been put onto a slick tyre on a track they've not driven on with these tyres, and it's a real handful, and Karun Chanduk getting caught out just into turn 8 and spinning it around, but luckily not having contact.
And there we just saw a change to the lead in Pro-Am. That 25 Gottfried Gratter racing Lamborghini has just got past Patrick Kuhner, so it's now Gerhard Torreza who's in the lead of Pro-Am. Now we've got battles going on with Andreas Simonsen and Cesar Campanico. These two doing battle at the top of the Pro-Am standings, with Harry Procek on his way at the moment to finishing second in Pro-Am. So it's all kicking off. Andy Zuber has just set the fastest middle sector of anyone. Stippler is on wets, as is Sebastian Loeb, apparently, we're being told. So Loeb, out in the lead of the race, is on wet tyres. Okay, he's lapping slower at the moment because it's his first lap out on the track, as we see this battle continuing. A fantastic squabble going on. But that's the news I'm being given, is that Loeb and Stippler are on wet weather tyres.
Doesn't look like it by their times. They're doing 1:57s.
Well, we'll wait and see if those times improve. Let's focus on this on-track battle at the moment, though, because it's all frantically going on for the lead of Pro-Am. And it is now Cesar Campanico who has moved into the lead of the Pro-Am class in that 14 Audi.
Everybody who's on slicks is struggling in the middle 50s. Those are on wets are running in the low 50s, or even in the case of Sebastian Loeb, a 1:49.
Now, what have we got going on here? All sorts, by the looks of things. It's Attila Abreu at the head of this queue, and behind him is Alex Buncombe, and now in front of him is Alex Buncombe as he gets up the inside. This is all over 13th position, believe it or not. So it's 13th place for Buncombe, 14th place for Abreu, 15th place for Tappy in the McLaren, and 16th place now for Hubert Hoped in the Mercedes. Here comes Andreas Simonsen again, then across the line. Is he going to be able to get past this time going into turn one? Looks to the outside to try and go around the outside of Campanico and pulls it off. Good stuff from Andreas Simonsen, the Swedish driver who won overall last time in Slovakia ring. And here comes the battle for third place. Through goes Gerhard Torreza.
Yeah, I mean, just simply, he's got wet tyres, Ortelli's on the slicks, and even Ortelli's last lap at 1:55, nothing he can do about it.
So I think it's over for Ortelli. The slicks, even in the last 15 minutes, unless something miraculous happens, I don't think we're going to see the track dry in time.
Like luck, miracles don't happen. It was a bad call, that's all you can say. And Kader goes down the inside, makes the pass on, well, trying to get back again, and he's on the inside. So Karun Chandrak, using all that experience from talking about being a racing driver and the experience of being one. So good race going on with these two BMWs. And this time, yeah, the Brazil car, well, side by side, I mean, at least they're not hitting each other.
As we now see Ortelli doing battle with Attila Abreu.
Oh, and look at the outside, the Mercedes coming into the...
And this is actually, Abreu is a backmarker here, being lapped, but Andreas Simonsen is now right up behind Stefan Ortelli and looking to take that fourth place away.
And he will do, because he again is somebody who's on the wet weather tyre. Ortelli's last lap actually was a 1:54, which is the quickest lap. Again, you can see the back of the car shimmying as it turned through the exit of 14, but Simonsen can get up the inside of the Mercedes. He's got the traction, and nothing Stefan Ortelli is able to do about it. We're on board here with Sebastian Loeb. I mean, could we see a shock finish for potentially second place? It would be unlikely.
Ortelli struggling so badly on those slick tyres. He's still lapping in the 1:55. Here comes Campanico into the final corner. Ortelli goes wide. That's going to allow Campanico the chance. It's not the final corner, my apologies, but it's still a sharp right-hander. Ortelli holds it in there just about, but then goes wide. This is the final corner. And here comes Andy Zuber. Watch for that McLaren.
Absolutely.
Takes the wide line in. He's going to slingshot out of there, and he's going to try and get past both of them on the start straight. Here we go then. Andy Zuber in the white McLaren. Past one Audi in an instant. Can he get past the other Audi by the time they get down to the first corner? This is the battle for third place in the Pro Cup. Not close enough just yet, but it's also the battle for fifth place overall, which means fifth place on the grid for the main race later on.
Thumbs up from Mike O'Greasy.
He's Irish today for some reason.
He could be Irish today, but look at this.
Here comes Shirley down into the left-hander. No, not close enough, but it's only a matter of time. Sebastian Loeb has come across the line, so this will be the final lap, or there'll be one more after. We'll wait for confirmation. Depends how long ago. But here comes Andy Zuber to the outside line now. Ortelli has the inside, but he doesn't have as much grip, which allows Zuber to drive right around the outside, gets on the AstroTurf, and that could allow Campanico back into the party, and it does. So Campanico slots back into the middle of these two. What a great fight for 5th position. Zuber's going to try and pull the same trick he did last time.
He's got the two Audis almost side by side, so the racetrack a lot narrower.
And now Campanico has the inside line on Ortelli coming down into turn 1. Zuber's tucked right in there. He's got past one of the Audis. Campanico struggling in a straight line, tries to sell the dummy to Ortelli, but not doing. Fantastic stuff. A little bit sideways for Andy Zuber. There's Andy Zuber's other half getting a little bit nervous. And here he comes up the inside. Job done for Andy Zuber. He moves up into 5th place. Absolute delight in the pit lane. And this has been a great performance because they started in 18th position on the grid. And now Ortelli's about to get assaulted by Cesar Campanico. Look at them, touching each other all the way around. The look up the inside. Is there a bit of a touch? Oh, there might well have been, and now Duncan Tappy wants to get involved as well. The clock has ticked to 0, so this is the final lap of the race. Duncan Tappy, meanwhile, is unlapping himself from Stefan Ortelli. Fantastic stuff. Campanico now goes back past Tappy, who realises he's just going to get the blue flags if he stays in front. Now the final lap, I think, means Sebastian Loeb is onto his final lap, and therefore these guys have one more lap to do. So these guys are on their penultimate lap. There's the move from Campanico up the inside, pushes Ortelli out onto the AstroTurf, and that sees Ortelli drop down to 7th position now. What a disastrous race this has turned into for them. There's the Sebastian Loeb Racing pit wall. They've seen their car come home to win the qualifying race twice already this season. They're getting used to these victories, but they're yet to pick up anything in the main race. Will that change here at Navarra? A circuit that has been so strong historically for McLarens continues to be so. The checkered flag is out. Tyres were perfect. Driving was perfect. A perfect race for Sebastian Loeb Racing. Loeb wins. He and Parent taking victory. 2nd place is going to be Frank Stippler. What a good performance from them, beating their main championship rivals. 3rd place across the line, Gerhard Tuareza. Fantastic performance from Tuareza and Procek. Here's a look at the results after the qualifying race. This will then be the grid for the main race coming up later. Sebastian Loeb Racing taking the win. Loeb and Parent in 1st position. Stippler and Sandstrom finishing in 2nd place. And a fantastic performance from Gerhard Tuareza and Harry Procek to finish in 3rd position and winning the Pro-Am class. Claudio Stanovic and Michele Rugolo finishing 8th overall, winning the Gentleman's Trophy. But look at that, championship leaders Ortelli and Banthor only finishing in 7th position. Further down, we had the 35 Nissan. Despite serving a drive-through penalty, Bunker Ordonez managed to finish in 13th position. Mark Basseng and Stefan Racina, pole sitters, finished in 15th position. Mermanov and Jarvis started 3rd on the grid. They finished in 18th place. Alan Day and Aman Ibrahim were retirements. But we can now hear from our race winner, Sebastian Loeb. He's in the pit lane with John Watson.
Sebastian, congratulations, 3rd qualifying race win.
Yeah, that's good, but never a race win, so hopefully this afternoon will be better than last time, and but I'm happy with the performance of the car. It was some good strategy also from the team. We stayed all the race with wet tire, I think a lot, used some slicks sometime, and it was a mistake, so no, it was a great race for us. Alvaro took a great start like every time, and I could keep the lead.
Sebastian, today, were you a racing driver or are you still a rally driver in these conditions?
Maybe a bit of both. It's for sure, it's very slippery, and you have to control the slide a lot of time, but still it's different. It's racing, the car is different, it's a track, so more racing driver.
The sun has come out ahead of the final race of the weekend, the main race in terms of the FIA GT Series for 2013. It's the 5th round of the season, the penultimate round of the season as well, and the championship can actually be wrapped up today, although that seems unlikely. Air temperature is now a lovely 22 degrees. Track temperature's up to 21 degrees. So we're going to be getting involved with a proper race this afternoon, which should be very entertaining after a frantic wet-dry race earlier on. Here's a look at the grid then ahead of the main race here in Navarra. It's Sebastian Loeb on pole position for the 5th time this season. Championship second place men right alongside him on the front row. Andy Zuber will start in 5th place in the second Sebastian Loeb racing car. Then our championship leaders there in 7th place. Stefan Otelli at the wheel of the WRT Audi. Patrick Kuhner and Alain Coder complete the top 10, whilst Doherty and Chanduk will start on row 6 of the grid. Alex Buncombe should be making a good start, and alongside him will be Gregoire de Moustier. Stefan Rossina, the car I just mentioned, will be starting in 15th position. Watch out as well for Nikimer Melnov, and Attila Abreu should make some good progress as well, and Alan Day will be the last man on the grid. Here we go then, it's Sebastian Loeb on pole position. When the lights go out, he will floor the throttle and the race will get underway as the lights go out now. Who's going to get the best getaway? Zuber darts out immediately, but there's no progress for him as they flash down towards the first corner. It's a good start from the outside there for Andreas Simonsen trying to get around the outside. Zuber's up into 2nd place as they come into turn 1. He's got a brilliant getaway, battling there with the Lamborghini. Simonsen's gone wide. Everyone's safely through these first few corners. Simonsen goes wide again, but it's a Sebastian Loeb Racing 1-2 up at the front. Brilliant start from Zuber. 3rd then is Gerhard Suareza. 4th has gone the 2nd place in the championship car of Frank Stippler. Is that our championship leaders off? It is! The number 11 car, Stefan Otelli, sent spinning at turn 5.
I thought that was a right rear puncture. It's not just the tire, it was so distorted with that spin, so he has gone to the back of the field, and not only has a bad day been a bad day in the qualifying race, it's just gotten an awful lot worse. But where is the Stippler? It is 4th place. It's the 4th of those cars coming down the back straight into turn 9. And right behind him actually is Steve Doherty in the Nissan. There's also moves being made there with Karun Chandok getting past, but then getting back past because Hubert Hope ran too deep into the corner. Well, what can Stefan Otelli do? Did he pick up any damage after that contact? That's going to be the thing to see. I presume it was contact anyway, coming down into turn 5 with all the cars closing in on one another, but it's a Sebastian Loeb Racing 1-2 up at the front. It looked like everybody in turn 5 was just so bunched, and Stefan Otelli appears to have been maybe on the outside going into turn 5 and just got squeezed on the outside. Consequently, he is now running at the tail of the field.
So we'll see whether he can catch up with the rest of the pack and how quickly he can make his way through the order. And there is Nikimer Melnov in the number 12 Audi, but across the line then comes Loeb, half a second clear of his teammate. It's all kicking off for 4th position as it looks like Steve Doherty is going to go past Frank Stippler down the straight. So Steve Doherty having an absolutely fantastic opening lap. He's up into 4th position.
And that's just simply just a good exit out of turn 15, using the power, again the torque of the Nissan engine, and no problem whatsoever getting ahead of Frank Stippler, who doesn't really need to find himself dropping 1 place further down, having started on the front row of the grid alongside Sebastian Loeb. But it is Steve Doherty who's the man, really fastest sector time in first sector of anybody, and this Nissan looks like it could be a real threat to those of the Lamborghini ahead, and then the 2 McLarens.
And Stippler now is about to lose out to Andreas Simonsen by the looks of things as they come across the line. Simonsen's on the outside and he cruises past Stippler. So Stippler really struggling in these opening stages. Is it the brakes or is he just not quite getting into the zone yet? Oh, he sent it up the inside. There's going to be a touch there, surely. I think that's pushed them both wide, and that's going to allow Alain Coder to come into the fight, but the BMW can't find a way around the outside at 4.
Alain Coder had been fastest in the middle sector.
And Alan Day goes past Coder. Great start, that from the back of the grid for Alan Day. But Coder then gets the cut back on the inside. And does he finish that move off? Alan Day's holding it in. Oh, bounces up over the curbs.
Well, nothing was wrong with him. He came in agricultural. He had to get the car right over the curbs because the BMW was not giving the Mercedes any room at all.
Here's a look at the start then. And Loeb in the middle of the circuit. Then it's his teammate on the left-hand side, that second McLaren on the left, that pulls out to the inside line. Simonsen stole the plaudits, but then he ran wide at the first corner.
Yeah, and Gerhard Tweiser was sort of caught between the 2 cars. I think he may have had to
watch for
momentarily back up. But let's have a look at Stefan Otelli and see what went
there
wrong.
He is.
There he is. He got tagged from behind. The BMW caught him. Yeah. So he just was a passenger in that one. No fault of Stefan Otelli, and he'll be furious because it was an unnecessary contact and something that may be looked at by the stewards, but on the opening lap, let's look at it again from the view that we saw.
That's from the Nissan.
Yes, that's from Buncombe. And again, it was the BMW directly ahead of. At that point, Alex Buncombe was the cause of that incident.
Alain Day will try and go all the way around the outside. No, he doesn't. Tries to get the cut back into three. Oh, he touches him, spins him round. The BMW does a very nice save of that, actually. Nice little drift. Oh, and Day's lost it all by himself. The big winner there, Alex Buncombe, 2 places. Gracias.
One of the things you've got to do as a racing driver is learn to read. I don't mean read a book, but read a race. And it was inevitable that Alain Day and the BMW were going to get together at some point. They've been leaning on each other a couple of laps earlier. And Alex Buncombe was just sitting there to pick up the pieces, and he said, many thanks, I'll take that.
Alex Buncombe, now he's in clear air, has just done the fastest first sector of anyone. Where's Chandok off to? He's going into the gravel, and that looked like he just lost it under braking, and he has lost a number of positions now.
I can't wait to hear what a meal is he making of it. I mean, Garoon will tell us it in graphic detail, and it'll make it sound even better than it was, but it looked impressive even as we did see it. Poor chap.
So there is Alex Buncombe, who's absolutely on it. Fastest first sector of anyone as he starts to reel in Frank Stippler in front of him.
This is coming up to the conclusion of lap 9. Well, let's just under 15 minutes into the race. Now we're going to have another joker being played as we look at Alex Buncombe again.
We're also looking at Gerhard Tuareza, who's dropped from 3rd place right down now to 5th position. And we're on board. I'm not sure, but we're on board now with Frank Stippler trying to get back past Tuareza. Tuareza's right in the slipstream of Alex Buncombe in the battle for 5th place. So Tuareza's actually down to 6th position, and Stippler's just lost out to the McLaren. So Gregoire de Moustier has just breezed past Frank Stippler down the straight.
Contact between de Moustier and Tuareza, and that's a lot.
Good news for Stippler, though, because that's going to allow Stippler to get past both of them.
Damaged front suspension, the McLaren on the right-hand side, and there it is, not just damage, I think it's a failure of the suspension in that contact. And what a shame for a great run by Gregoire de Moustier. That contact in that very tight turn 12 section of the racetrack is the end of the race for Von Ryan Racing.
To the right-hander they come. There is Hubert Hope doing a good job in 10th place, and you can see that Von Ryan McLaren is very unwell, and Gregoire de Moustier pulls it to a place of safety, and unfortunately will be retiring that car. Here's a look at the replay. On board with Frank Stippler behind. There's the look from, well, you'd have to say he was quite a long way alongside there.
Well, it was the right front, left rear, and in effect it wasn't far enough forward to say that was your corner. But what it did do, I mean, you look at racing cars and you think, well, that was a very simple incident. Why did the suspension break? Well, principally because suspensions are designed to do particular things. They're not meant to be used as dodging cars, and just particular angle and the weight of the impact is enough to do damage to the right front of de Moustier's McLaren and take it out of the race.
There's Andy Zuber, and he's got a problem. Right rear puncture for Andreas Zuber from 2nd place in the race. That's devastating for him. Great news for Loeb on a personal level, because that gets him off his back. Oh, but Loeb's coming in. This could be, I mean, hopefully they will get that number 9 McLaren sorted before Zuber comes into the pits. Meanwhile, here's the Simonson's got past Doherty. Doherty wants to go into the pits. Oh, his teammate's there. Oh, no. So they both have to stay out.
Well, I mean, the two Nissans, I don't know what they were thinking they were doing, but we got Simonson ahead of Steve Doherty, and then all of a sudden Buncombe saw the opportunity and he got squeezed to the outside of the track before they got to go through turn 14, and so really the two Nissans tripping over one another. The Mercedes is clear now as we look at the, well, in fact, it's Simonson technically leading the race because they've yet to pit stop. Doherty 2nd, Buncombe 3rd, Ortelli up to 4th place, but of course the overlap of pit stop will then very close. Very tight in the pits. Harry Project going to get into that Lamborghini.
But that was our race leader who's just been into the pits and back out again. Sebastian Loeb has now handed over to Alvaro Parent, and there's a drive-through penalty for that HTP Mercedes Carnival 1 for avoidable contact with that BMW a few laps ago, which I think is probably fair enough.
Absolutely.
This will be busy times for the RJN crew, with 2 of their cars coming into the pits in one go.
The Ortelli car's just gone past us on the pit straight, so he's got clear air, and that'll allow Ortelli to do what he's capable of doing, and that's getting another couple or 3 laps.
They're not ready for Buncombe. Look, they're not ready for Buncombe. They're not ready for the white Nissan. He goes up on the jacks eventually. but it's not really working for them. There's no one there ready with tyres. It's all very last minute. They haven't even started changing the tyres, and the car's been up on the jacks for a good few moments now.
Yes, very strange now. Obviously the driver changes are going on, and now they're getting the wheels and tyres changed. So whether that was a miscommunication or not, whether because what happened the lap earlier, there we see that's the Steve Doherty car now been handed over, and that's driven by Wolfgang Reip, so he's on his way down the pit lane, and this is disappointment indeed for Luca Ordonez and his home race.
Laurens Vanthoor just set the fastest third sector of anyone and is close to 6 seconds behind Edvard Sandström. That last lap he lapped 9/10 of a second quicker. Here comes Andreas Simonsen into the pits then. He has got a 28-second lead over Alvaro Parent, so it's going to be reasonably close, this. I think Parent will have it.
He's not going to get it done. I mean, I don't think they can come in the pit lane and get out ahead of this car. Alvaro Parent down at turn 12. There, the Mercedes comes to a standstill. And Simonsen gets out, Afanasiev gets in. So, coming through turn 13, then the little short run down to 14, and then you're into the final turn. And to me, Alvaro Parent will pull onto the straight, as he's about to do now. And they're still working on the Mercedes. The door goes down, and they're still got to change. Well, they've got all 4 wheels and tyres changed. Now get the car fired up. So the McLaren has taken on the lead, and in fact they've lost 2 positions because the second of the 2 McLarens, driven by Mike Parisi, has gone through in 2nd place. And who else is going to come through before Mercedes gets on? It's Sandström going to do it.
Yeah, Sandström comes through as well, and possibly Laurens Vanthoor. Now this could be important. If Vanthoor can't get past and gets stuck behind Afanasiev, he's got the speed, so he should maybe be able to get it done now. If not, he could lose some time here in his chasing of Edvard Sandström in front of him. He hasn't been able to get it done just yet. He's got good drive out of turn 3, but that's bad news for Laurens Vanthoor as he tries to chase down Edvard Sandström.
That was the opportunity that was sitting there to be taken. It almost occurred in turn 3, but the Russian driver managed to consolidate and keep the Mercedes ahead of the Audi, and now it's going to be a real battle for Laurens Vanthoor to not get trapped at the pace of the Mercedes and then consequently find himself unable, as we look at Andreas Simonsen, who's done a good job and not really looking overly heated.
This is the battle then for 4th place overall. It's comfortably the Pro-Am lead for Sergei Afanasiev now. Wolfgang Reip 2nd in class, 7th overall, and Michael Ammermuller now has climbed up to 3rd place in class. So this is great for their championship chances, because Harry Procek is down in 4th in class with Afanasiev set to win it. So that'll be great news for them. Whoa, I just said that, and he gets all out of shape. Vanthoor tries to find the inside line, does find it, and moves through. Now, how much time has he got to close in? He's got to find about 6 seconds to close in on Edvard Sandström. Here comes Wolfgang Reip in the battle for 6th place. Bassin goes defensive. Reip puts it on the outside. Bassin comes and says, you're going to have to be brave if you want to get past. Reip is brave, and he moves up past Marc Bassin into 6th place. Steve Doherty on the right in the glasses. He's happy with that. Here's Bassin doing battle with Oliver Jarvis still. Bassin in the white Lamborghini, the reigning GT1 world champion. Ollie Jarvis behind, who races in all sorts.
He's happy with that. Nicky, come on, show us how you feel. Down the inside, Ollie Jarvis, beautiful swoops through into turn 5. That's how you make a pass in turn 5. No contact, just got the car alongside before Marc Bassin was in the position to defend, and clean and fair racing, what I like to see.
The Mercedes looks to the inside, coming down into 9. Not close enough. Oh, Bassin's gone in too deep. That's going to allow Dusseldorp the chance to get up the inside. Can Bassin keep it around the outside? No, he can't. No. And Dusseldorp goes through. I wonder if there's a problem with that Lamborghini, because the pace was good earlier. It's number 11. The championship leading Audi is into the pits, and this turns things on its head again.
Oh, and that's just there's fluid somewhere getting onto that brake disc. And that's the reason why the cars come in, whether that's brake fluid itself, whether that's what's been leaking.
Our race leader, Alvaro Parent, pulling away from Mike Parisi, half a second a lap in recent laps. But, well, the championship has just taken a big old twist.
Interesting, the Ferrari of Michele Rigolo running behind the 2nd place car of Mike Parisi is running actually quicker, and I would not be surprised if Rigolo does get ahead of Mike Parisi because the Ferrari pace is very strong. Regrettably, the car is down in 14th place.
Van
It's
Thor's
finished.
out of the race. Look at that dejection from Laurens Van Thor. He climbs out of the car, and the race is coming to Edward Sandstrom. Ortelli
just puts an arm around Van Thor. I mean, clearly, emotions are very high in circumstances like this, but that appears to be a brake issue.
So we've got two battles going on, one for 5th place and one further back.
This is Jarvis and
this is
Wolfgang
5th
Reich.
place, and then we've got the other squabble going on here for 7th place, and Dusseldorp gets the move done, he gets it stopped.
But does he keep the position? The BMW, well, wasn't a lot of room there, but Steph Dusseldorp just about sneaked it. A little bit of cooperation from the BMW, but the job's done.
There is our race leader, Sebastian Loeb, in the pits, watching his teammate, Alvaro Parent, at the wheel. Now, Van Thor has left the pits, Laurens Van Thor, and he will score points if he takes the checkered flag. He's 7 laps down, but that doesn't matter. If he takes the checkered flag, he will finish in 8th position, which will give him 4 points, which means that it'll be a 5-point gap between these two cars, in fact, as we get to the final race of the season in Baku. So it'll be 5 points at the top of the championship if things stay how they are. But there's our race leader, Alvaro Parent. There's the team watching on, nerves jangling, I'm sure, but for the first time we're going to see Sebastian Loeb win in the FIA GT Series main race here at Navarra. Fantastic performance from McLaren. Across the line they come. Sebastian Loeb Racing win. Delight in the garage. It's going to be a 1-2 for Sebastian Loeb Racing. Absolute delight as they take the checkered flag. But 3rd place, and now the men with a real shot of taking the championship in Baku, Edward Sandstrom and Frank Stippler. There's our Pro-Am winner, Sergei Afanasiev. He and Andreas Simonsen doing a great job. Jarvis across the line in 6th, and he's got past Wolfgang Reich. He's come across the line in 5th, so Jarvis getting past Reich on the last lap, but Reich still getting a 2nd in class, which is great news. But there's Sebastian Loeb. It's been a long time coming, but finally, in the penultimate round of the season, his team have fulfilled the promise that they showed in the first qualifying session. Here's the results. Sebastian Loeb and Alvaro Parent winning the race, 21 seconds clear of their teammates Andy Zuber and Mike Parisi. 3rd place in the championship, 3rd place in the race means 2nd place in the championship for Frank Stippler and Edward Sandstrom. Pro-Am winners Andreas Simonsen and Sergei Afanasiev. Mayor Melnov and Jarvis doing a good job to finish in 5th place ahead of Steve Doherty and Wolfgang Reich. But there, 15th position, the championship leaders, they only pick up 4 points for that. Stefan Ortelli and Laurens Van Thor, their championship advantage has been slashed.
Sebastian, tell me, are you happy? Are you pleased today?
Yeah, for sure, I'm pleased. We were not so lucky in some races, but here it was really, really good. With Alvaro, we won 2 races, and the second car was 2nd in the main race, so that's a great result for the team. I'm really happy for the team because we needed a bit more motivation, and now we have it.
You needed no motivation this afternoon in spite of your teammate Andy Zuber pushing you hard. I thought at one point he's going to try and take the lead.
Yeah, he was very close. He was pushing very hard, very close behind, so he was very fast, but our car were great today. Great feeling both in the car, so it was a really good race.
You get the good stuff up. We're coming down to celebrate with you. Many thanks.
Thank you.
Well, here's a look at the championship standings. Ortelli on 101 points, Sandstrom and Stippler on 96. Because Ortelli and Van Thor got out to take the checker flag, it's not 1 point the difference, it's up to 5 points, but still all to play for going into the final round of the season in late November in Baku in Azerbaijan. Sebastian Loeb and Alvaro Parent with that win leap up to 4th place in the standings. They might be able to finish in 3rd position, possibly even 2nd if things really go their way when we get to Baku. Alan Day 5th in the standings, René Rast 6th. And as far as the Pro Cup team classifications go, it's still on for the battle there. Belgian Audi Club can only count 2 of their cars for the points, so that's why they have 143 points with Sebastian Loeb Racing pretty close behind, only a handful of points in it, which means that again, in Baku, things could swing in their favour. BMW Team Brazil up into third place in the standings, which I think will please them considerably. And as far as the Pro-Am classification is concerned, Afanasiev and Simonsen this weekend have pulled reasonably clear of Harry Procek now in second place in the standings. It's still not over, but again, going to Baku, it's going to be a long shot now for Harry Procek to challenge Afanasiev and Simonsen for the title. Wolfgang Reip has moved up into 5th position after his strong drive today to 2nd position. And as far as the Pro-Am teams are concerned, it's HTP Gravity Cherouz leading the way with 146 points. Team RJ and Nissan in 2nd place after a strong race, but only picking up in the end 2nd and 4th in class, 2nd and 5th in class, which I think would have been a little disappointing for them. Sebastian Loeb and Alvaro Parente on the top step. It's victory finally for Sebastian Loeb and Alvaro Parente. They're able to spray the champagne on the top step of the podium. Next up we'll have the Pro-Am podium. We'll see a very happy Sergei Afanasiev and Andreas Simonsen on the top step, I've no doubt. Thank you very much for joining us here this weekend for the FIA GT Series round at Navarra. It's the penultimate round of the season. The final round will be at Baku in the end of November. Make sure you join us for that, because the title fight is going down to the wire. From myself, Jack Nichols, John Watson alongside me, everyone here in Navarra, we'll see you in Baku. Thanks for joining us.